Good morning, guys. So happy meal prep Sunday. I have a very simple meal prep today. I do have to leave and take my son over to urgent care because he is still not feeling well. I told you guys on Instagram yesterday. So I'm making it simple. I've already started one thing, and then I'm going to leave, go take him to the doctor, come back and finish it. So I will try to give you still some time checks on how long it's taking me for everything so you have a good idea, because I know you guys like that. So here's what I have going on. I forgot to make the bagels last week, you guys. I totally had it on my list, forgot to make them. So I'm going to make two of the 2-ingredient bagels. For lunch prep, I'm making a bean with bacon soup. Really excited about this. I'm making this all from dry beans using my pressure cookers, so I'm really excited to share this recipe with you guys. And for snacks, I'm just going to package up some of these corn thins I have right here. They just happen to be here. With some salsa, so I'm just gonna, just pre-package some snacks. So I'm gonna do corn thins and salsa. I'm gonna make veggie dip. I'm gonna make some cheesecake parfaits and some hard-boiled eggs. And then for dinner prep, which I'm gonna start right now, I'm gonna make some salsa chicken. So I'm having chicken tostadas later on in the week for dinner. So I wanted to get this done, and that way I can also have it for lunch if I wanted to. If I don't feel like having the soup or something like that, I can make myself a salad with this. So I'm going to go ahead and start this now because I need my pressure cooker twice for this meal prep. So I'm going to cook this now. I can cook while I'm at the doctor, and then when I come back, I will start the rest of it. So let me look what time it is. Okay, so it's 7:30. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I do to make my salsa chicken, and then I will be back with you guys when I get back from the doctor. In the pot for the salsa chicken, I have some chicken in here, and it is still a little bit frozen, so I'll probably just cook it a little bit longer. And then I'm going to add a little bit of taco seasoning. I forgot to replenish my spices again this week, so I just used a little bit of taco seasoning. I have a jar of mild salsa. I have some corn, which I'll do about half of this package, and then these are my homemade black beans I took out of the freezer. So I'm going to use probably maybe a cup of these for the whole batch. So I'm going to throw that all in there, and I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is in the pot. So I don't find it necessary to add any liquid in here because you get a lot of moisture, from the chicken and from the frozen corn and from the salsa. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up, and I'll show you what settings I'm going to put it on. I'm going to go ahead and press the poultry button, and it's only 15 minutes. I want to do longer than that. 25, that should be good. So I'll do 25 minutes. I'm going to start out with the bean and bacon soup, which it is from the Pioneer Woman. So I'm just going to adapt it to make it more Weight Watcher friendly. So what I have here is some turkey bacon, and then I'm going to go ahead and start that cooking in my pressure cooker while I chop up all the veggies. Bacon has been cooking, and this is an 8-ounce package of turkey bacon. The recipe called for a pound of thick cut regular bacon. So I have this, and so to this I'm going to add celery and carrots that I've chopped up. So I did 3, the recipe called for 2 full carrots, but I did 3, and it called for 2 whole stalks of celery, and I did 3 of that as well. And then a whole onion. So I'm just going to saute this up. And I'm using the saute brown function on this pressure cooker. So I'm just going to saute this up until it's tender, and then I'm going to remove them and add the beans. So I will show you what it looks like after it's been cooking up. These have been cooking up for about 10 minutes, and everything is getting really tender. So I'm going to add in some garlic, and I just do a couple tablespoons of minced garlic. And then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And mix all that up. And I'm going to let that cook for just a couple minutes. Then I'm going to pull all this out of here and cook the beans. And the reason why I'm cooking the beans separate from the vegetables is because I know from using these pressure cookers that if you try to cook the dry beans with vegetables, your vegetables will be really pretty much disintegrated by the time the whole soup is done. So So I'm going to cook the beans separately. Then I'll put everything back in there and do like a 5 or 10 minute pressure cook just to get all the flavors melted up. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this cook a couple minutes and pull this out of here. And I should mention that since the bacon doesn't have any grease, with the turkey bacon doesn't have any grease, I did add in a couple tablespoons of chicken broth just to help saute this up so it wouldn't stick to the bottom. So that's a nice tip there. If you don't want to use any kind of oil, you can just use chicken broth to saute your vegetables in. I'm ready to put my beans in here. So I just have a pound of white, the Great Northern beans. I've already rinsed them and picked through them. You always want to rinse your beans really well because they are really dirty, and then also look if there's any rocks or anything in there. And then I'm going to cook it. Then you want 8 cups of liquid. So I'm going to use 4 cups of chicken stock and then 4 cups of water. So what we're going to set this on is, I already have it all locked up. You want to make sure your pressure is sealed up there. So we're going to do the beans and chili. Now I know from cooking the black beans the other day that it took me 35 minutes to cook those, and so what I'm going to do is set this for 25 minutes since we'll do an extra 10 minutes when we put the vegetables back. So I'm just going to adjust the time and then start it up. So I'm going to let those cook. While my soup is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make my chicken salad. So I'm just going to show you what I put in it, and I do change it up quite a bit. So I show the chicken salad a lot in my videos, but I do it kind of different. So here is some chicken breast that is just all shredded up, and then I'm going to put some celery in it, some bell peppers, red onion, and green onion. And I'm not going to use all of this. I'm just going to chop up the rest of this for salads for the week. And then I just put in plain non-fat Greek yogurt. And as far as spices today, I think I'm just going to do some sea salt, a little bit of onion salt, some of the Trader Joe's 21 seasoning Salute, and then some red chili pepper flakes. So I'm going to do that this time. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all chopped up. I have all the vegetables in here. So also I'm going to add some of this stone ground mustard in there as well. So I'm just going to mix all this up, and I'm just going to use this week for snacks, maybe for lunches. I like to have this on rice cakes for a snack. So I have this all done, and then I think I'm going to start on the Veggie Dip and the Cheesecake Parfait. So I have people ask me a lot how much of the Greek yogurt I put in here, and it really just depends on how creamy you want it. If you like a little bit of a drier chicken salad, I start out with 2 tablespoons, but also if you're going to keep this in your refrigerator all week and use it for just meals throughout the week, then definitely start out with a lesser amount, because the longer it sits, it gets a little bit creamier. So I would just start with about 2 tablespoons, and then as far as the mustard, it's probably, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon worth in there. So that's my tip on that. I'm gonna go ahead and make my bagels before I forget, like I did last week. And so for this, you're going to need some plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and then you're going to need some self-rising flours. You're gonna need a 1/2 cup of each of these. Now with the flour, I'm going to save a little bit of the flour out to use on my board, so I don't end up adding more points in by adding more flour to the board. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a pinch of this off and put on my board for rolling it out. So all you want to do is just stir this together till it is nice and incorporated, and then you're going to put it onto your board and roll it all out. So I'll show you what it looks like when I get to that point. Now you just want to knead it just a few times just to get the flour all in there. Now the reason why you put the flour on the board a little bit is because it does get a little sticky, and if you notice yours being too sticky, you may use just less of the yogurt next time, but the a cup of each has always worked out really well for me. And like I said, you want to just save out some of the flour, because the more flour you add to your board and to your rolling pin, the more points it's going to add to your food. So I'm not going to use the rolling pin for the bagels. I'm just going to knead it up and then try to split it as evenly as possible. For a 1/2 cup of this particular brand of the flour, it is 5 points. So technically one bagel would be 3 and one would be 2, but I just count them both as just 3 points each. If you get the, I believe like the Walmart brand of the flour is 6 points for a half a cup. So if you wanted to split it up evenly, then you can do that as well. So I have this all kneaded up, so I'm just gonna try to split it up as evenly as I can. And then what you want to do now is just kind of roll it out into a rope. And depending on how thick or thin you want your bagels will depend on how long you make your little rope. But so you just go like that and just make it into a circle. I'm going to be making these in my air fryer. So I'm just going to get these ready. I'm not going to bake them off quite yet, but I'm just going to get these ready to go. And then before they go into the air fryer, what I'm going to do is I will be putting in, an egg wash on this. So for now, I'm just going to get these ready to go, and then I will show you how I cook them in the air fryer. I'm going to go ahead and make my veggie dip. So I have about a half of a container of this Greek yogurt left, so probably about 2 cups left in here. So I'm just going to do half of this Knorr vegetable dip mix. So I will use my scale for that, but I'm just going to go ahead and dump all of this in here, and then I will show you how I mix all this up. Full package of this is 40 grams, so I am just going to go ahead and measure out 20 grams of it. And I use this for my vegetables. So this week I have some bell peppers and some carrots that I will be using this with. Okay, there we go. So then I'll just mix all this up, and I will portion it out into little containers on the day that I take it to work for lunch. Now I'm going to go ahead and make my cheesecake yogurt parfaits. So I'm going to do 2 of them for this week. So I'm just going to use, again, some plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and then 5 grams of the sugar-free cheesecake jello is 0 smart points. So I'm just going to do 10 grams in there and then split it up between these 2. So I have a little bit of frozen fruit on the bottom, and then I'll put the yogurt on top, and then top it up with a little bit more frozen fruit. And then I also like to thin this a little bit with almond milk, just so because it gets really thick because of the puddings. Beans are all done. I've just been letting them just do a natural release for about 9 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick release and get rid of the rest of the steam. Then I'm going to go ahead and drain off any liquid, and then I will show you how to put together the rest of the soup. Here are my beans. So they are just still a little bit crunchy, which is good because I'm going to cook them for a little bit longer. So I'm just going to put in our vegetable mixture we made that has the bacon and the tomato paste and all that. So put that in there. I'm just going to give it a quick stir, and then I'm going to add in 4 cups of low sodium free range chicken broth. So I'm going to add that in there, and then I'm just going to cook it for another 10 minutes. Just adding in the chicken broth. So when you press the button on the front of this pressure cooker, it has a beans and chili button. It's 11 minutes. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just do that. So it's going to take still, though, another probably 15 minutes to get up to pressure. So this still has like another 25 minutes or so. But here's what it looks like right there. So it won't look much different when it's all done. Now I have a cantaloupe to cut up, and then I have a sweet potato and zucchini I'm going to cut up. So I'm going to have these for my breakfast bowls in the morning, and then there's one night we're having breakfast for dinner, so I'll need that for this. So I'm just going to cut these up so they are ready to go, and then this will just be for snacks, breakfast, that kind of thing. Soup is all done, so what I'm going to do, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to take my 2-cup measuring cup here and see how many servings is in this, because this will have points. The only thing in this that has points is going to be the turkey bacon. So I will just put it all into the recipe builder, and I'll let you know on the screen how many points this ended up being. And I also will have this recipe typed up down below in the description box as well. So let me measure this out, and I'll let you know how many servings it ends up being. I got 6 1.5 cup servings out of that recipe, so I just separated them all out into my meal prep containers. So I will let you know on the screen at the end when I show you everything that I made. I will let you know how many points this ends up being. Again, the only point you're going to have is just going to be for the turkey bacon. So I'm thinking maybe 1 point at the most for each of these. And then how I'm going to serve them is with some oyster crackers. So that's what I will do for lunch this week. So let me show you. Now we're going to finish up the bagels. I will show you how to cook those in the air fryer. The crackers I'm going to use, they call them oyster crackers. They're just like the little itty bitty crackers. And you can have 38 of these for 1 or 2 smart points. I can't remember how many it was. I think it's 2 smart points. So I'll probably just do 1 smart point because I can't imagine needing 38 of these in one of these bowls. So probably just do half a serving of these. So now we're ready to do the bagels. So I just have just 1 egg mixed with a little bit of water to do an egg wash. So I'm just going to put that on there. And then I have people ask me how much of the everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's that I use, because you can have up to 3/4 of a teaspoon for 0 smart points. But I don't typically count spices. Most people don't. But I do to do it just to do it. So I have 1.5 teaspoons in here. So I will just start sprinkling this on there. So I don't think that you would even use a full serving on one of these bagels. So I think it's okay to, for those of you who just said that you've just been sprinkling it on, I think that would be fine because I still have this much left over after putting in 2 servings in there. So here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the air fryer. I am going to do the air fryer at 360 degrees for 8 minutes. And I did mist a little bit of spray on here. So there you go. And I'm just going to start it up. I'll show you what they look like when they're all done. One of my snacks this week, I'm going to be having some of these Good Thins corn crackers. So you can have 17 of these for 1 smart point, 29 of them for 2 smart points, and up to 41 of them for 3 smart points. So I'm just going to do 17 of them for 1 smart point and then put some salsa. So I just have some organic medium salsa. So I'm going to put some of that in one of my little jars here. And then I'll just put some of the crackers in these little bags. So I have those all set up for lunch this week. Bagels are all done. This is what they look like when they come out of the air fryer. They are very hot. So I'm just going to put those in one of my meal prep containers and then just store them in the refrigerator until it is time to have them. Meal prep is all done, so let me show you what I ended up doing. So here's a zucchini and sweet potato for my breakfast and cantaloupe for breakfast. Here are the 2 bagels. They came out really good. These are going to be 3 smart points a piece. Then this is just some stuff for salad. So I have green onion, red onion, and some bell pepper. Hard-boiled eggs. Here's the veggie dip, so this is 0 smart points. My 0 smart point cheesecake parfaits. I did end up doing 2 smart points worth of these crackers. So I have those plus the salsa right there. These are some pinto beans that are going to be for dinner tonight. And this is a salsa chicken that I did in the pressure cooker first thing this morning. So this is 0 smart points. I'll be using this on tostadas this week. Then I have chicken salad. This is 0 smart points as well. And then here are the containers of the bean and bacon soup. So I still don't know how many points this is, but it'll be on the screen. And then I went ahead and separated out 1 point worth of these oyster crackers to go with that for my lunches. So this is everything, and thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys!